Oh, good morning, everybody. Hope we're doing well. Bit of a different setup today. We'll give it a minute or two to let everyone flood in. How's everyone's Wednesday morning going? Well, having a good time? Hump day of the week. Good morning, Cubis. Good morning, WY. Zirkzee, yes, the man of the hour. We'll be discussing him very, very soon. Cubis says, here we go. Yeah, here we go, mate. Here we go. We're going to get there soon, hopefully. I'm hoping for some news to break on the stream, actually. That is the hope. Morning, Ahmed. How are we doing, my friend? We all doing well. If it's your first time to the stream, please leave a like. We're going to get into it in just a second, guys. Got a lot to talk about. I'm good. I'm doing really good, mate. I'm doing really good. How are we all doing? Hope we're all doing well. Oh, Joshua Zirkzee, everybody. Joshua Zirkzee. Oh, it's exciting, isn't it? It's really exciting. Shall we get into it? Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the MPB Morning Show. I'm your host, Alex, at Alex Talks All, and in the words of Didier Drogba, I don't recognise my club anymore because we are moving at seemingly light speed in several deals across the pitch for Manchester United, with Joshua Zirkzee being the name on everyone's lips at the moment. If you're excited for this deep dive in Joshua Zirkzee and so much more, including Jadon Sancho and Javi Simmons, then please leave a like on the video and hit that subscribe button. We're aiming for 40 likes on today's stream. It would mean the world to me if you could show your support. And as always, get involved in the chat down below. It's Wednesday, it's the hump day of the week. Let me know how you're going and if you're excited for all the news. But let's dive straight into it. Let's look at the timeline of the Joshua Zirkzee news over the last 24 hours. A lot has gone on. Zirkzee time says WY, exactly, mate. Hello, everybody. Yesterday morning, The Athletic published a report saying Joshua Zirkzee has admirers at Manchester United and has emerged as a candidate to provide competition for Rasmus Højlund. Ivan Toney and Jonathan David have also been linked. The United's interest in Zirkzee is thought to be firmer. Chat very quickly. How are we feeling about Joshua Zirkzee being preferred to Ivan Toney and Jonathan David? Jonathan David has been Fabrizio Romano's sort of centre of attention for the hype in the last few years. I mean, come on, we've heard him linked to United, to every top club in Europe over the last few years. Is it finally time for him to make his big move? But also Ivan Toney, Premier League proven, seemingly has a bit of an attitude problem, but his quality is undeniable. Chat, let me know right now. Are you happy that Joshua Zirkzee is the man seemingly preferred by Manchester United? But very quickly, let's have a little deep dive into this tweet. Has emerged as a candidate to provide competition for Rasmus Højlund. Look at the wording used. Provide competition. On this channel, we do a deep dive into all the news, and that's what we're doing here. It's quite obvious. We're not just looking for a player to be a backup. We're looking for a player to compete, to try and be that number 9, to try and be that main striker at Manchester United. Chat, let me know. Do we think that Joshua Zirkzee is that player? Here we go, Alex. Oh, I'm hoping so, my friend. I'm hoping so very soon. Hello, how are we doing, Lachlan? Ahmed said Zirkzee is cheap and good. He'll be costing around £50 million in total, but maybe less. There was some news this morning about a potential discount for Manchester United. If you want to learn more about that, please stick about. Personally, to me, I mean, Cuba says it right here. Perfect player for United. Drop deep to help the build-up and can play two-striker system with Rasmus Højlund. Chat, let me know. Do you think a Rasmus Højlund, Joshua Zirkzee front two could work? Personally, I see it working with maybe pushing Rasmus Højlund out to the right or maybe to the left. He sort of occupies those same sort of channels as Marcus Rashford. But yeah, I think it's quite obvious Joshua Zirkzee is the main man who Manchester United are gunning for at striker. He seems to be our main man. And again, it's thought to be firmer. It's not, in this tweet, it was sort of hinting at potential a potential approach. The words admirers as well. I'm always sceptical when looking at the word admirers because it sort of means it's not really unanimous across the board. It's not that coherent, but look, I'm really, really liking this move. GGMU says we need experience and backup striker. We already have Rasmus Højlund. Joshua Zirkzee is what, 22? 23? Chat, let me know. 22 or 23. He's a young lad. He was at Bayern Munich. He's certainly played at top club before. There's issues over his mentality. As part of the reason he moved to Bologna, hopefully, Thiago Motta has sorted them out. He had a great season last year at Bologna. So look, I'm hopeful when looking at Joshua Zirkzee. He's sorted all that out. Cupid says, my question is, will the agents be... Aaron says we should play two strikers and two wingers. That's quite a ballsy approach, my friend. Quite a ballsy approach. Alex King says stay away from Kia agent. Hell, I mean, the agent has been a centre focus to this deal so far. And let's examine that line of thought very, very quickly. So Plettigol, a journalist who we've spoken about a lot on the channel, often referred to as the man agents go to talk to. And I'm always a little bit sceptical because I always believe his news is 100% reliable as he gets it from very good sources. But I always think there's a twist. Let me explain why I don't think this is true. In this particular example, Plettigol, or Florian Plettenberg, broke the news originally that Joshua Zirkzee was moving from Bayern Munich to Bologna. He broke the news. He got that exclusive. So if he was the foremost and forefront sort of journalist on that deal, why can't he be the same for here? Which is why I'm designating Plettigol as a tier 0 for the Joshua Zirkzee saga involving Manchester United and AC Milan. That's just my opinion. His first report reads as follows. Joshua Zirkzee is still one of the desired targets for Manchester United in attack, who are now closely monitoring the striker situation again. United are aware of the concrete interest in Zirkzee from AC Milan. However, the high commissions and demanded fees are currently complicating a transfer. United are informed about this. That was the sort of first report that came out, which again, is quite optimistic. I think it's come from the agent directly. I think his name is it's Kim, I believe. And look, it's very optimistic. It's one of the desired targets for Manchester United. They're aware of the concrete interest in Zirkzee from AC Milan. But again, I've spoken about on this channel several times about how I was aware of the agent fees being a key factor. And Plettigol makes this abundantly clear. Let's see what you're saying, chat. If you agree, disagree, let me know in the comments. It is a community here on the MPB Morning Show. I want to hear your thoughts and your opinions. Kia, apologies, I got the name wrong. Is this agent which is too big? I'm assuming they're talking about the funds for it. Chat, let me know very quickly. Do you think that lagging. Do you think if you could choose between Xavi Simons or Joshua Zirkzee, you can only bring one to Manchester United, who would you pick? It's quite a rogue comparison, but let me know, chat. Let me know. Origami says Zirkzee is a complete forward who can drop deep and link up play. Different profile to Rasmus being the more advanced forward. I've spoken about it on the channel a lot, about how Joshua Zirkzee is so good at being that sort of link between a defence and attack. He sits between sort of, you know when like Bruno Fernandes sits and he plays as a 10? Like for Portugal last night, he'd sit between the midfield and defence, picking up in those little half spaces. That's exactly what Joshua Zirkzee does, and I think he would get the absolute best out of Marcus Rashford, get the absolute best out of Alejandro Garnacho, which is why I think we're going to go for him as a completely different profile of player. Zirkzee would be good for the club. Competition between the strikers is healthy. I would add Beer to the mix. Beer can also play right and left wing and he is only £30 million. If we're looking for a utility forward player, we should be looking no further than Xavi Simons, whose links are becoming increasingly more and more concrete. If you want to learn more about that, please stick around to the end of the stream. We're talking about it then. Simons, without a doubt. God, you lot love him. Ahmed, Xavi 100%, but we won't get him for cheap. We get him on a loan. That's the thing. Correct me if I'm wrong, chat, but PSG are looking to loan out Xavi Simons. He's a bit of a problem player for them. 9 goals and 15 assists on loan the previous season. Doesn't sound like much of a problem. But to PSG, it seems to be. Cuba says, my question is, will the agent's fee be counted in the financial fair play? Well, look, I don't know. My hope is it shouldn't. Or at least it shouldn't as much as the transfer fee itself. I mean, you lot do not like the agent at all. Alex King says Kia was the headache agent with Tevez. Goldio, thank you for the £2 donation. I really appreciate that. You're saying Simons is overrated as fuck. I disagree with that. I think he's a cracking little player. Chat, let me know. Do you agree with Goldio? Do you agree that he's a bit, not useless, but a bit sort of not the player we need at United? Let me know, chat. Let me know. But let's sort of move on to... I think it's Nick Samavaro. We first spoke about him yesterday in relation to Joshua Zirkzee and Mason Greenwood, and he's proving to be quite a reliable journalist. He, in fact, is the one who broke the news between the connection between Manchester United and Kia Jorbichin. I think I'm saying his name right. Sorry, chat. And he says Manchester United have contacted Joshua Zirkzee's agent in the last few hours. He broke this news, and I think it's going to be really important to keep this in mind because it was then sort of confirmed by David Ornstein. He said Manchester United are exploring a deal for Bologna striker Joshua Zirkzee. The interest is advanced and there's dialogue with his camp. No club-to-club talks yet, but United are considering an approach and are aware of his £34 million buyout clause. Chat, let me just let you know the £34 million buyout clause is, I believe, only active in July. I was having a little discussion with some people yesterday. That seems to be the inclination that it is only active in July, which sort of plays into our hands a little bit. WS's Kia is Forson's agent. Oh, good God. God, everything's connected. Such a small world, isn't it? He's a bit overrated. It's such a mixed opinion on the for Xavi Simons, isn't it? Origami says Xavi's issue is PSG who do not want to sell. If they were willing, we need the obligation to buy. Exactly. You don't bring a talent of Xavi Simons to a club, a big club like Manchester United, and simply go, yeah, no, it's fine. We'll give it back to you next year. He's going to get 25, 30 goals and assists, but no, you can have it back next year. I mean, did you guys watch the Netherlands game? Against, who was it? Oh, forgive me. Was it Swiss? I think it might be in the Swiss, and how I thought he was really quite good there. And chat, very quickly, let me know, during the Euros, is there a player you've watched who you would want to bring to Manchester United? Someone who's caught your eye? Got a lot of new people in the stream today, so please let me know down below. Lachlan says Lenny Yoro or Joshua Zirkzee. For me, it would be Lenny Yoro. He is definitely a sensational talent. If we brought Zirkzee, that might get in the way of Ethan Wheatley's development. I'm not going to really focus on the Lenny Yoro part because I don't really see the relation. But in the terms of Ethan Wheatley, I don't think Zirkzee will stunt his growth much because I don't think there's much growth to be stunted. I don't really rate Ethan Wheatley that highly, unfortunately. But let's look at David Ornstein's report. Are exploring a deal for Bologna striker Joshua Zirkzee. We're figuring it out. We've made it public. United have been very careful the entire time INEOS have been in charge what they're making public. When they go through someone like Ornstein and they go through someone like Fab, they're making sure that everything those journalists are saying is checked 3-4 times over. There's a very interesting story by Fabrizio Romano where he reached out to Bayern Munich several times in order to ask, can I publish a report? Clubs are so like scrupulous when it comes to checking reports of players. And what's seen here, exploring a deal. To me, that just sort of means we're figuring it out. They're having a little think. The interest is advanced, so it's gone beyond just sort of talking about him. They're actively discussing with the players' camp. No club-to-club talks yet. We will have club-to-club talks when we agree a fee. Probably the agent fee, because I doubt the wage is going to be an issue with Kia. I'm not going to... Jorbichin? I think I'm going to pronounce that right. Alex King says, Yoro going to Real. WY says, Poland, that's who they're playing against. Toulon, welcome back to the stream, my friend. Simons is a very good player, but not what we need. I think if Jadon Sancho goes, he's exactly what we need. And I think he could be a potential long-term heir to Bruno Fernandes. But again, more and more things are happening with the Joshua Zirkzee deal. With Simon Jones, a man who we've sort of spoken about quite reliably on this channel. We spoke about him in regards to Mason Greenwood yesterday and about how reliable he seems to be for him. He says Manchester United are preparing a bid for Joshua Zirkzee. Now, I'm going to sort of halt him in his tracks a little bit. I think he's not jumped the gun. I think he has reasonable belief. I reckon he's heard from somewhere that there is a chance that we're thinking about the deal. We're thinking about the buyout clause. I wouldn't say we're preparing a deal. We don't even need to prepare it. It's £34 million. The only thing we could be quote-unquote unprepared for is the agent fees. And let's talk about the agent fees really quickly. Chat, do you remember Frankie de Jong, everybody? And how we had the deal wrapped up and done, and then there was the what? Like the unpaid wages that really got on the deal? Does everyone remember that? United didn't have a clue about that, didn't have a Scooby. For this deal, it's quite clear Manchester United are aware of everything. Exactly, WY says, we don't need to bid for Zirkzee. He has a release clause. Sheldon Toulon disagrees with me, saying Wheatley has the potential to be an absolute beast of a striker. Maybe I've not watched enough of him, but he's not my sort of player. Cuba says, I would swap Mason Mount for Xavi Simons. Not a chance, my friend. I have a deep love for Mason Mount. Dan K, I haven't seen Zirkzee play, so can't comment on his abilities. But we'll be watching Netherlands in the Euros. If you want a quick crash course on Joshua Zirkzee, I've done one before, but very quickly. He sits between the defensive line and the midfield line of the opposition. He sort of plays almost like a false nine. Back to goal play is superb. His ability to hold off defenders and play those sort of facilitating passes through to wingers like Rashford or Garnacho is wonderful. He works really well with the sort of third man runs into from the midfield. You know how Scott McTominay does it, Bruno Fernandes, and even Kobbie Mainoo in recent months, how they get into the box and cause an issue for the opposing sides. The FA Cup goal, the winning FA Cup goal was caused by that Kobbie Mainoo running through. Joshua Zirkzee is excellent at facilitating that. If you want to give him a label, I'd very pompously call him a facilitating striker, just due to the way of how he brings the best out of others around him. Toulon says there will be no bid. He has a release clause. Exactly. Singh says, I like Xavi, but a backup striker is a must. Højlund was on his knees at the end of last season. He needs support. United want to give him competition, everybody. Manchester United want to give Joshua Zirkzee to Rasmus Højlund, not as a backup, as competition. I think they like the fact he's a different profile. I think they like the fact that he's on a similar level. I think it's quite bold from United. We've seen how young strikers react to competition before, a la Anthony Martial. We're talking about Martial's mentality and how it's been called out by Erik ten Hag very soon. But look, I don't know how well it's going to work. I'm trusting INEOS. I'm trusting Erik ten Hag's ability to manage both players. I'm a bit sceptical of how the rotation is going to work. Chat, let me know, do you think Joshua Zirkzee has the ability to replace Rasmus Højlund as the number one striker for Manchester United? Question, don't you think Bier brings more to the table as compared to Zirkzee? Bier is quick, he's rapid, he's great at breaking through the defensive line. That is what he's good at. Zirkzee is a different profile because Rasmus Højlund does the same thing Bier does, except Rasmus Højlund is he's maybe a tad slower, but he's more powerful and he's stronger. And WY says Zirkzee is the perfect choice. It's what INEOS have come to the conclusion to. Huda says, how much do you think Calliope is going to cost us? I don't think we're going to go Calliope. I don't think so. I've not heard a single credible report about him, unfortunately. But more and more is happening with Joshua Zirkzee, everybody. Fabrizio Romano, and this interests me. This report interests me, said, AC Milan remain the favourites to sign Joshua Zirkzee. Manchester United have taken information on the player. Milan must close the deal with Zirkzee's agent, otherwise other clubs can enter the race. It's a bit pessimistic regarding Manchester United's chances with Joshua Zirkzee. I mean, Fabrizio Romano and Zirkzee both seem relatively disconnected in the sense that, yeah, we've taken information on the player, but Ornstein, probably the most tier 0 reporter in world football, said that we've got advanced interest in him. And Fabrizio is stating otherwise. So look, I think Bab's been pessimistic because he's not sure and not been told, which is the first time I've been really impressed with Fabrizio Romano's reporting this window. So I'm a bit surprised he's taken this approach. Chat, let me know. Who's been the best journalist for you so far this window? Who's been the most reliable? Who's been the most consistent? Who's got the best scoops on deals at the moment? To me, it's the Muppeteers, hands down. Cornish Maid says, could we play Joshua Zirkzee and Højlund? I mean, I'll let the chat answer this, but to me, yes. Yes, you can. I think you'd almost have to play Zirkzee in the way we play Scott McTominay. You know how we have him as a shadow striker sometimes? That's how I would play Joshua Zirkzee with Rasmus Højlund. Dan Casey says, I would prefer Ivan Toney. His Premier League experience could prove to be vital. We're talking a lot about Premier League experience. INEOS has spoken so much about it, but yet we're still sort of deviating towards this Dutch, sort of mentally unknown sort of character in the form of Joshua Zirkzee. And we did plenty goals say, Erik ten Hag wants Joshua Zirkzee. We are backing Erik ten Hag. INEOS see this man as the future of Manchester United Football Club. It's quite obvious they're going full steam behind him at this point. And Plenty Goals' latest report says, concrete talks between Manchester United and Joshua Zirkzee's agent, Kia Jorbichin, have started. United are now working on a total verbal agreement. A total agreement with AC Milan is not in sight at this stage. United have good chances to hijack the deal. It's an open race according to Plettigol. The tier 0 on this deal. In my opinion, the Zirkzee deal is getting closer and closer and closer. I'm quite excited about this, ladies and gents. I'm quite excited. Cuba says, I wonder what's the issue between Milan and Kia. If Kia is willing to give United a discount, things must be horrible between them. I just think Milan have said £15 million is stupid. And to be honest with you, I agree. I think it's a ridiculous fee. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. I reckon Milan and United have said very similar things, but United just said it nicer. They just said it nicer. Question, Alex, according to you, who would be our first 3 signings? If I could choose right now, it would be Lenny Yoro, Amadou Onana, and Joshua Zirkzee. Why is no one linked to Matoma or Eze? Do not speak about bringing Cairo Matoma to my football club, Simon. He's not my cup of tea, but Eze is being linked to Spurs at the moment. Ab says Zirkzee is similar to Gakpo, like both dribble and skillful, both tall, both quite fast, but Zirkzee is clear. Gakpo had a stellar game against Poland in the Euros. I thought he was wonderful on that football pitch. It really made me quite frustrated with Jurgen Klopp, because out on that left-hand side, he was devastating. Alex King says, being honest, I've not seen enough of these players to have an opinion, but if it's Erik ten Hag's choice, then we have to back it. I think that's my feeling with any sort of player we're going after at the moment. It's a new regime, it's a new evolution. I know I've said things about Erik ten Hag before and his talent ID, but it's an INEOS recommend. I think INEOS, you know that report that came out a while back saying INEOS will give the manager 3 choices, he gets to pick one. It's what's happened here. Zirkzee, Jonathan David, Ivan Toney. Erik ten Hag's picked Zirkzee, and we're going ahead with it. Lebeg says, how good is Zirkzee? Chat, does anyone watch Zirkzee consistently? I've watched enough of him to think to have an opinion on him. I did a deep dive on Bologna a while back, and I've really enjoyed watching him there. Guys, please make sure to leave a like on the video already. The aim is 30 likes. Maybe we can push to 40, and if we're lucky, maybe 50 likes. Alex King says, trust the process. Exactly. You have to trust it. We've got to back the manager. We've got to back the board. But perhaps the most exciting thing out about all of this is the latest piece of news to come out from Di Maurizio and Nick. Di Maurizio sort of produced a Milan, an Italian brief, saying Manchester United's interest in Joshua Zirkzee is concrete. If United were to satisfy the requests of Zirkzee's agents, there would be little AC Milan could do. AC Milan are continuing to maintain their stance that they believe the agent's request of 15 million euros is excessive. Whenever you look at these reports, always look at the perspective. Always look at the perspective, chat, trust me. Because right here, it's from an AC Milan perspective. They are basically saying to their fans, saying to the media, saying to the world, look, we're not paying this money. We've said it privately, said it publicly once. We're going to double down and say it publicly again. We shouldn't be paying that agent fee. It's just not wise. Yeah, no, exactly. I think we'll get it done for half of it. I think 7 million euros for 34 million pound release clause. I think that 7 million euros is quite fair. Huda says we have to be realistic as we only need a backup striker in attack and then invest massively in the defence. Remember, Huda, remember, my friend, we're not signing a backup striker. We're signing competition for Joshua Zirkzee, everybody. Cuba says Højlund and Zirkzee both 190 centimetres and above. We have beasts up front again. Like, I've spoken about it on this channel time and time again. Physical flooring needs to be raised. Bringing in a Joshua Zirkzee, replacing a departing Anthony Martial is genius. And yes, everybody, I'm live every day at 11 a.m. Please leave that. Please hit the subscribe button. Please follow me on Alex Talks or on any platform so you never miss a stream. Debbie White says I think they'll drop the agent fee to 5 to 10 million pounds for us. We have a clear shot at Joshua Zirkzee at the moment, everybody. AC Milan have effectively said with this Di Maurizio brief, which is coming from them, make no mistake about it, this is coming from AC Milan themselves. They're basically saying, look, have a free go at Joshua Zirkzee because we're not paying it. To be fair, they're standing on business a little bit. They're standing their ground, and I do respect it from AC Milan. But we now know that United in the front-running seats with this report from Nick Seramano saying Manchester United's first contacts with Joshua Zirkzee's agent, Kia Jorbichan, were positive. He is willing to give United a discount on the commission. No discount to AC Milan, with whom relations are terrible. God, how the times have changed, everybody. How the times have changed. Long gone are the days when the United tax existed. Long gone are the days when the English tax existed. Manchester United are being given a discount. You know what? Guys, I've never seen that. I've never seen it. Ever. Jar Marmon says, even if we pay the agent fee, we get Zirkzee for under 50 million, which is 20 to 30 million under what we got Højlund for, and he is good, if not better than Højlund. They're different profiles. And when Rasmus Højlund achieves his potential, he will be better than Joshua Zirkzee when he achieves his potential. But right now, I'd say they're very similar players in terms of quality. Alex King says, how long has it been since we had decent strikers? God, when was the last time we had good depth? Was it probably Zlatan? Or was Zlatan, Martial? Rooney? When was the last time we had like a deep striker deep striker depth? I'm trying to think. Who Who just says Alex Everton are looking to sell Onana over Jared, so we should be looking at that deal as he'd be perfect for our midfield. I think they're briefing. I think Amadou Onana will say one more year at Everton, to be honest. Origami says 10% of the release clause is valid, 3.4 million. I don't think they'll drop to that. I don't think this discount is going to drop that far. But look, the fact that we have a discount itself makes me happy. Let me see if we have any more news. To be fair, WS says we had Cavani, Ronaldo, Martial at the same time. Post Sir Alex Ferguson chat. Who's the best striker we've had at United? Who's the best? And don't think about Ronaldo's previous experience with United in his first stint. Think about when he played for Manchester United in the second stint. How good was he compared to the other strikers? Origami says no way Bavada would approve of that commission. He is due to officially begin work in 3 weeks. I think we're getting into a little bit of hypothetical territory now. Bavado's spoken about not being pushed about on the market at a conference in Barcelona recently, and that I'm inclined to agree with you on that regard. But £34 million is cheap. It's the same way when a free agent moves. The agent fees are massive. The sign-off fee is massive because it's already subsidised by the release clause or the fact that there's no transfer fee at all. So I do think the agent is somewhat within his rights to ask for a little bit more of a fee. ZM says Zirkzee is better than Højlund, I can't lie. Both aren't the best scorers, but Zirkzee offers far, far, far more for his teammates and on the ball outside the box. He's older, he's probably been brought up in a more footballing environment. He's Dutch, and we just know how the Dutch love keeping the ball, don't we? So yeah. Ning Singh says CR7. Toulon says Zlatan. God, I never really got behind Zlatan Ibrahimovic. I don't know why. He was never my favourite Manchester United striker. Guys, if you're enjoying the stream so far, please leave a like on the video. We have so much more to discuss. We're going to be discussing Jadon Sancho leaving the football club, what on earth is happening with our midfield situation, but also the ruthlessness in the way Manchester United are moving at the moment and how we are revolutionising the way we do transfers. Any more sort of feelings on the Zirkzee situation, chat? Do we think we're being played by the agents? That's a question to all of you. Is Kia Jorbachan playing every single one of us? Let me know. Let me know. Here's my opinion on it. Here's my opinion. Are Manchester United being taken for a ride by an agent yet again? Personally, I have a little fear. I have a little bit of fear because he's renowned. I believe the Tevez situation, he was the agent involved there. And to me, it's just, whenever you have these big boy agents in the room, like Mino Raiola, Vesta Sol, those really big agents, I'm always very sceptical of them because they can go to the media and they can spin whatever lies they want. They are superb at driving price up. They're superb at getting their player the best deal they want. And that's why I'm a little bit concerned about Joshua Zirkzee. What was the Zirkzee news this morning? It was about the fact that we are being given a discount on the Joshua Zirkzee commission. Zlatan was decent for us, says King. He was quite wasteful in front of goal at times, wasn't he? Origami says the best forwards we had was the Bruno, Rashford, Mason Greenwood and Martial combination 2019-20 season, I think. Maybe, was it 2020-21? I think that might have been a bit better. Who just says, what is the role of Mason Mount next season? When it comes to Mason Mount, I think he's a rotation piece, but a very, very good rotation piece in the same way Joshua Zirkzee will be utilised. Long gone are the days in football where you just want a really obvious pecking order. Look at City. Pardon me, sorry. Look how many players they have. And look how much quality and depth. On the left wing, they have Jack Grealish, Jeremy Doku. Both fantastic players, both very different profiles. Mason Mount, Bruno Fernandes, Kobbie Mainoo, all have incredible quality, all very different. That's what we have to be bringing into Manchester United. Bocco says, how fast are we on transfers? At the moment, mate, we're moving at light speed, my friend. I promise you, it's not Football Manager, it's not FIFA. We can't do it like that. But I promise you, we are moving very, very, very quickly. Any more feelings on the Joshua Zirkzee deal? Are we confident, chat? Let me know. I want to hear yes. I want to see yeses and nos. I want to see a stream of them in the chat. Do we think we signed Joshua Zirkzee? And is he the first signing in the INEOS era at Manchester United? Let me know, chat. Let me know. Because we're going to be moving on to a second on a little bit of the more technicalities around Manchester United, looking into the structure a little bit more and looking at the speed in which we're moving. Bocca says Lindelof's situation when it comes to Victor Lindelof. I think we're trying to start a bidding war. Spoke about it a lot yesterday and we'll continue today. Singh says, look at Madrid, their midfield is great. Like, God, yes, exactly. Camavinga, Tchouaméni, Valverde, Bellingham, Kroos, who's now retired, Modric. Like, that is a ridiculous midfield. Like, you can't get better. God, you lot are confident, aren't we? Huda says we would sign him this weekend, followed by Javid. I think the problem with this weekend is that we're waiting till the release clause comes active, which is only in July, I believe. Also, a little bit of sort of my opinion / information. As I always say, whenever I hear something or get told something, it's always with a pinch of salt. But I asked someone about who's familiar with how agents work and whether he thinks it's genuine. He's quite confident that this is genuine interest and then we're not being played. So when it comes to like the fear about being played by Zirkzee's very sort of notorious agent, I'm going to stress optimism on it. I think we're not being played. That's at least what I was told. As always, take my information with a pinch of salt. But hey ho. WY is making the prediction July the 3rd, Zirkzee will join. WY, if that happens, my friend, on the July 4th stream, Independence Day, you can choose... God, you know, message me, mate, and we'll figure that out. Huda says, yes, we need different profiles in our midfield. We need good profiles in our midfield. That's what we need. Yes, kind of confident. Yes, Casemiro is leaving, says Bocco TMC. Let's talk about the midfield situation at Manchester United. We've spoken in depth about Joshua Zirkzee and how he could be coming to United. Let's talk about outgoings and how this is probably the most important part of the rebuild at Manchester United. Yet maybe it's being the most underlooked or at least the most underwhelming so far. We'll start off with some positive news. Fabrizio Romano reported yesterday that, if I can find it, let's see, where is it? In the last 24 to 48 hours, Manchester United made some calls for midfielders. Now, this is really interesting because this is in the same time span in which we're looking at Zirkzee and we're making moves on Jared Branthwaite. So simultaneously, at once, we're moving on 3 players. I don't recognise my club. There's a reason I started off the interest with a Didier Drogba quote. Because I don't recognise it at all. Chat, when was the last time we moved for this many players at once? Or this speed? Or this efficiency? The only time in recent history, I think, is Cristiano Ronaldo. Honestly, does anyone remember that day? Personally, best day of my life. Oh, it was such a great day. I was on the beach, but I was on my phone. Oh, what a day. Let me know, where were you when Cristiano Ronaldo signed back for Manchester United all those years ago? Let me know, chat. Sorry, back to the topic. But exactly, that's sort of my feeling with United, that we've never been this sort of efficient before and this sort of wide stretch. And this report followed Sky Sports Chef reporting that Manchester United are looking at PSG's Xavi Simons. He follows up by saying, if Jadon Sancho leaves Manchester United, the club are looking at targets for that position. United are discussing internally whether to make their interest in Michael Olise more formal. Xavi Simons is also one to look out for. There's a lot to unpack with that tweet. And I know I'm talking about midfielders, yet mentioning Xavi Simons. To me, long-term at United, I know he can play all over the front line, apart from up front. Xavi Simons is a long-term midfielder. That man is the heir to Bruno Fernandes, in my personal opinion. Good morning, Rito. How are you doing, my friend? Bocco says, when is the Manchester United board starting their job? Are you not listening to me, my friend? We're moving well. We're doing well, my friend. I think we're doing very well. Singh says, if it's Eric's first choice, I'm fully behind it as long as we don't get taken for a ride by his agents. I'm really hoping not, my friend. I'm pretty sure we're not. They already had Bocco, exactly, my friend. Now, says Fabrizio said Zirkzee prefers to stay in Italy, but if Milan don't want to pay 50 million to his agent, I guess he's going to United. I think Zirkzee would like to stay in Italy in the same way Mason Greenwood would like to stay in Spain. They're comfortable there. Good environments sort of bring about good performances in players. But a different environment can bring about even better. So I don't see any reason why Zirkzee would turn down the chance to join the biggest club in world football and be backed by the best fans in world football. And if you are enjoying the stream, guys, please don't hesitate to leave a like. I really appreciate all your support. We're aiming for 40 likes today. any of your support would be really appreciated. Which says, any news on Elise? Yet the latest news is this. I mean, Chelsea have been sniffing around at him. They're definitely making moves behind the scenes. But what it says here is that, are we making the interest more formal on Michael Elise? I think we need to wait. I think it's a waiting game with Elise, and we're waiting to move Mason Greenwood on, to move Jadon Sancho on, and again, Sheth addresses this. If Jadon Sancho leaves Manchester United, the club are looking at targets for that position. Obviously, by reading that, there's enough interest in Jadon Sancho to at least require us to look at other alternatives, like a Xavi Simons, like other wingers, for example. So that gives me some optimism. Like, who says, have we moved on from Elise? I don't think so. Not yet. I think it's a case of, if the stars align and the sun shines brightest and a solar eclipse occurs, yeah, it'll happen. I think it's very unlikely, but I'm not ruling it out yet. Ed Laluz says, welcome back to the stream, my friend. You can tell by initial movements for players we are moving differently now. Now let's see if we get our targets. Let's hope so, my friend. Let's hope so, but we are somewhat restricted by sales. I'm going to be talking about the Casemiro Amrabat situation in a second and how much of a problem that is proving in bringing in midfielders. But let me know, chat. Do you think Xavi Simons is the answer to our prayers on the winger position? Do you think he can replace Jadon Sancho, or do you think he's preferred more in the midfield, where he can be a backup or a rotation piece to a Bruno Fernandes? Let me know, chat. Let me know. To me, Elise is a midfielder. That's his long-term view. I don't think he loves operating on the left. Every time I've seen him play consistently well for club and country has been in the middle or on the right-hand side. He prefers those spaces. He's a great driver with the ball. He manipulates the ball very well. He keeps the balls glued to his feet. His range of pass is excellent. He reminds me of Sancho in his ability to link up a team. Jadon Sancho's biggest strength is being able to make a almost dysfunctional team appear coherent. Look at Dortmund in the Champions League run. At times, they looked so shaky. There wasn't sort of much coherence there. Jadon Sancho knitted it together. I think Xavi Simons can do the same. I mean, last year he got, 9 goals, 15 assists? Huda says, I am manifesting on Wirtz coming in the next summer window. God, I hope so, mate. God, I hope so. Imagine Florian Wirtz at Manchester United, a future Ballon d'Or winner, mark my words. If Germany win the Euros, there's a genuine shout for Florian Wirtz being the best player in world football. Winning the Bundesliga undefeated, winning a cup and winning the Euros, yeah, that is a Ballon d'Or winner right there. Koloski says, what about rumours that Casemiro is staying? Is that just price increase or true? I mean, I'm a bit sceptical because I heard that Casemiro wasn't attracting interest from Saudi Arabia. They're more focused on Casemiro. No, not Casemiro, on Kimmich at the moment. So that's my information. That's what I was told. Odds on FPL shared that to me. So yeah, it's not really I'm sceptical on it. I'm sceptical on Casemiro's ability to move clubs this summer, which is a bit of a shame. I mean, let's look at the report from Trivella, from Eduardo. He reports that Bayern Munich opened talks with Casemiro in recent days. However, the midfielder was not happy with what they are offering him. He stays at Manchester United for now. I don't know how much I believe that report, apart from the fact that a club is going to be offering Casemiro, who still believes he can play at the highest level, who still believes he has the ability to win a top-tier title, to contribute to his national team and win a major international trophy. I don't think clubs are going to be offering the salary and the role that he wants. So it's sort of why I'm quite fearful they'll end up staying at Manchester United this summer. Chat, does anyone still want Casemiro to stay? Does anyone want him? I would prefer he leave. I'm really quite thankful for what Casemiro brought to this football club. His experience, his wealth of experience, really lifted up some of the younger lads up. I think Garnacho learnt off him. I think Ahmad learnt off him. I think Kobe Mainoo learnt off him. I think they all probably appreciated his experience in and around the camp. I just don't know how much usefulness he has. But chat, tell me if you disagree with me. Tell me if you disagree. WY says Saudi will sign Casemiro. Rita says yes, you want to keep Casemiro. Koloski says no. Ahmed says no. Sonny Milan says no. WI says no. Anyone going to agree with Wito, why would you want Casemiro to stay? Is it his experience? Do you still think that has a role to be at this football club? Huda says we have enough leaders. Wow, Wito says with a proper defence, I think he would be good again. I just don't... So Casemiro's biggest trait is covering ground. He used to be, and can be, I think, with enough rest, a ground-eating monster. He just can't do that week in, week out. I don't think it's worth paying him all that money for him to not be able to do that. Danke says, I would also prefer he leaves us. Him being on £350,000 per week salary is hurting us. He is eating into our salary cap, isn't he? Zidane says, sell Casemiro and invest properly in a DM. Who would you have to replace Casemiro? I mean, we've spoken a lot about Fofana. I was speaking to Dylan McBennett very recently about Fofana. He's very close to that players' camp, and he was quite optimistic in United's sort of interactions with Fofana's representatives and how positive they're being, and how it's sort of moving in the right direction. I do think Fofana is a player we're genuinely looking at. Chat, are you happy with that? Would you want us to be really bold and go after Tchouameni from Real Madrid? However impossible it is, we're going after Lenny Yoro, who seems dead set at Madrid. Should we be going after Tchouameni as well? Or should we be going after Amadou Onana? Should we be going after Højlund? Should we be going after Edison? Chat, let me know. Amadou Onana, I completely agree with you. Amadou Onana he was built in a lab to play alongside Kobbie Mainoo, in my opinion. He fits him like a glove. I mean, João Neves is a player who has been spoken about a lot on this channel. And I'm sure we're going to hear so many more updates about him this window. So if you want to see that, hit the like and subscribe button so you never miss a stream. I mean, Dan K saying João Neves, if too expensive, then Fofana makes sense as a budget option, especially considering it might be very difficult to move Casemiro on. And perhaps an even more budgeted option would be re-signing and keeping on Sofyan Amrabat, a player who I have quite a fondness for, a player who was one of the best players on the pitch in an FA Cup final against Pep Guardiola's Premier League winning Manchester City side. Rich Fay reports that Manchester United are yet to make a final decision on the future of Sofyan Amrabat and are not expecting an imminent one ahead of his loan deal formally coming to an end. This screams to me they're waiting. Manchester United are just waiting at this point. We're going to go, look, what's going to happen if we don't move Casemiro on? I think Sofyan Amrabat stays at Manchester United. Chat, would you be happy with that? Do you want Sofyan Amrabat to stay? I would love him to stay. I think he's a great backup six. I think if you bring Amrabat in, you have to bring someone else as well. Someone says Douglas Luiz from Villa will be a good buy. He's off to Juventus, my friend. He's off to Juventus. Mark says United must splash on Neves and have him competing with Casemiro. One doesn't come without the other. We need to move Casemiro on to bring in any midfielder, especially if we want to bring in João Neves. If we want João Neves, move Casemiro on for £50 million. Honestly, it's what you have to do. Huda says Amrabat is a proper six and we should sign him. Exactly, he's at his best. When played properly, not at left back, not as a double pivot where he has to receive the ball on the half turn. No, it was a lone single pivot in possession. We can drop between the two centre-backs, have the whole game in front of him. He's a genius. It's like he's looking at blueprints and he knows exactly what to do. It's like he's an engineer, a mechanic, and he's just tweaking things. That's how I think he sees the game, and I really, really enjoy him playing there. Huda says, if we sell Sancho, do you take Pedro Neto at United? He's a bit injury prone for my liking, unfortunately. He did get the assist yesterday, didn't he? That last-minute goal, Portugal v Czechoslovakia, if I'm correct in saying. Bocco says Bruno, Amrabat, and Mainoo. It's a midfield that works. Again, it just proves if you have, a strong six who can cover ground, partnering him with a 6/8 hybrid who can play as in a double pivot but can also cover ground but also excellent on the ball. Partnering him with an 8/10 hybrid, that's very balanced. It's such a balanced midfield and it screams. Remember Matic, Herrera, Pogba. Remember that midfield? The exact same thing. A lone pivot six, combined with a player who can play as a double pivot in a 6 or an 8, with a Paul Pogba who can be an 8 or a 10. That is how you balance a midfield, and we haven't done it in so long. And hopefully, we're making that step this summer. Mark says, I think Amrabat failing is to blame on Erik ten Hag. He didn't give the guy the chance to prove himself in his favoured number 6 position. Exactly. He persisted with Casemiro, persisted some more. And I think it was a mistake. WY says Rabiot would be a good signing. Chat. Ooh. Some says, is Rabiot still an option if wages can be negotiated down on a free as well? The problem is, mate, it's his mother. I wish I could say that without sounding bad, but yeah, it's his mother. His mother is the issue. But yeah, no, it's a case of she's quite... what's the phrase? strict when it comes to negotiations. So yeah, I'm quite cautious of that link because I think it would just be being used to get more wages from elsewhere because INEOS are not interested in paying ridiculous wages for, quite frankly, squad players. But let me know. Chat, would you take an Adrian Rabiot? Because I think he'd be an excellent addition. He'd raise the physical floor. He's a really strong player, capable on the ball, played really quite well for France the other day. I really quite enjoy him. The problem is wages. It's the only issue. Dan K says, I can see Everton selling Onana and keeping Branthwaite. Where's the interest in Amadou Onana? It'd be United. I don't think we're going for him. I think we see Branthwaite as the bigger priority. And Arsenal aren't going for Amadou Onana this summer. I think we know that. Charby saying, you're not even saying anything. You are just waffling. Cheers, mate. Huda says, my honest opinion is this. As long as we are totally investing in our defence and making it world class, then we would need a budget midfield with Amrabat as a 6 and Fofana 6'8", a hybrid for only £35 million both. I just don't think... I mean, yeah. I mean, Fofana's done jobs in a pivot before with Tchouaméni. He's done that before. And that worked. So I could see him working in double pivot, but he's also very capable of holding himself down on his own. He replaced a Tchouaméni-sized hole when he left for Monaco. He's done very well ever since. So, look, I'm quite keen on Fofana, to be honest. But let me know any other rogue opinions for midfield. Any long shots. To me, it's Amadou Onana, and it will forever be Amadou Onana. He's my Manchester United number 6 if I had my way. Boxer's Casemiro replacement. Look, we got to move Casemiro on, mate. We got to move Casemiro on. Then we will have to accept that at this point. And guys, if you're enjoying the stream so far, please do leave a like on the video and hit that subscribe button. I'm here every day at 11 a.m. We're aiming for 40 likes today, just one like away, and we're going to hit our goal, and I'd really, really appreciate the support. But shall we talk a little bit about Jadon Sancho? A bit more, we mentioned him earlier about being a player potentially leaving. Let's look at the links with Jadon Sancho and Borussia Dortmund. Borussia Dortmund remain in talks with Manchester United over a permanent deal for Jadon Sancho. Juventus have also approached United about Sancho. Those two clubs are among a number of interested sides in Germany and Italy. United are likely to only consider permanent offers for Sancho, and their valuation is around £40 million. That's coming from Sky Sports. Really, really interesting report. It's what we've sort of discussed before about Jadon Sancho. Juventus are interested. Borussia Dortmund are interested. Are either going to pay £40 million to a player who constantly throws stops? I think he's an incredible player. I think he's got a part to play at United if he wants to stay. But I just think £40 million is just a bit too much, just due to the noise that he brings with him. I'm just checking if there's any more news. I was really hoping we got some news today. It's a bit of a shame. My thoughts on Varela at United. I'm not too aware of Varela, unfortunately. Not too aware of him at all. Yeah, chat. What do we think about Jadon Sancho? Do you think he ends up moving, in your opinions? You've been with me every day discussing this news. Do you think Jadon Sancho leaves, or do you think we just keep him on and sell him for £20 million at the end of the window? Mark says United paid Dortmund £76 million for Sancho, and they are saying they can't afford £40 million. Borussia Dortmund is a selling club, my friend. They are a selling club. They're not very good at the whole smart purchases, smart investing in. No. A lot of their money does not go back into the squad. At least it doesn't go back in very well. WY says we don't want Onana, we want Branthwaite. Chat very quickly. If you had to choose between Jared Branthwaite and Amadou Onana to bring to Manchester United this summer, which one would you pick? Let me know down below. Dan K says Sancho will be sold. I think he'll be sold. I just think it'll be I think he'll be a loan and obligation for £30 million. I think that's where this deal is inevitably going, unfortunately. That's why I see this deal really going towards. It's a bit of a shame, but hey ho. Bocca says let's go for Onana. Who says we should move on to Onana fast if Javid is not attainable. I think Everton will look at that and laugh at us. I think they would laugh. No, they wouldn't care. Mark says, I'm all for Rabiot, yes. Simon Andrew Samuel Selvin, long ass name, my friend, says, I think Sancho leaves but doubt on a permanent deal. No one would pay £40 million, which is our asking price. It'll be a loan and obligation. I think I've become quite resigned on the Sancho situation. It bores me a little bit now. The same way the manager situation was starting to bore me. The The Sancho situation is going to bore me a little bit. Boateng, great name, my friend, says, what's the latest transfer news? Welcome to the stream. Haven't seen you here before. The latest transfer news is Joshua Zirkzee and Manchester United edging ever and ever closer to a deal for Joshua Zirkzee. All that needs to be agreed is the agent fee and the wages, and then in my opinion the deal is effectively done for Joshua Zirkzee to Manchester United. When do you think we get Zirkzee? You know what, WY? I'm going to go with your prediction, 3rd of July. 3rd of July, because as Ben Jacobs, a man who appears on the channel relatively regularly, said everyone at INEOS and Manchester United have agreed to try and bring in 2 early signings this summer. That screams to be Joshua Zirkzee and Jared Branthwaite. So I think we're going to get both players in before pre-season starts. Both have sort of got a time limit on them, with Jared Branthwaite needing to be sort of moved out by the 30th of June. And, I mean, the second we can use the release clause on Zirkzee, we're not going to pander about. We're just going to pull the trigger, I feel. So, yeah. I think they'll come very soon. Chat, are you impressed by United and how we're moving? Let me know. Are you impressed by us? Because I certainly am. I think this is the best United have moved ever. At least in the Glazer era. I don't think we've ever moved quicker. I mean, we once sold Cristiano Ronaldo and brought in Antonio Valencia, Michael Owen and a random goalkeeper. And on a shoestring budget, with FFP and PSR rules coming into play, we are making moves. Who says, who do you think will offload first, Greenwood or Sancho? I think Mason Greenwood is a lot closer to leaving the club. I think he's got concrete suitors in the form of Valencia. And I feel that the Jadon Sancho situation is very dependent on, can Juventus sell Chiesa? Can they sell Sule? So if they can move one of those on, I see Jadon Sancho going the other way to Italy. I think he'd suit it there. I think he'd like Italian football. I do think it would work quite well. Sorry, chat, seeing if there's any more news very quickly. What do you think? Who do you think, chat, will be the first one to be moving to Manchester United this summer? Any ideas? Anyone got any ideas about that? Alex, do you think we can get Adrian Rabiot? Ooh, I think no. No, I think we're being used in the media. I think we're being used. I think it's the one thing United needs to learn to cut down on, is to very quickly squash these reports, because so often does our name just get used and rinsed and used and rinsed and used by these journalists and by these agents blabbing to them. That needs to stop. And Omar Bavard spoke very recently about restructuring United and about restructuring it to make it a more competitive place in the market. I think that's how you do it. If you stop people using your name, you give yourself a lot of leverage. And Samuel Luckhurst spoke about Bruno Fernandes very quickly, guys. Don't stick around. Last segment of the day, we're going to be speaking about Bruno Fernandes' future, potentially tenuous future at Manchester United. Samuel Luckhurst reported that a new contract for Bruno Fernandes is not a priority for Manchester United, but the club would be open to a renewal if he stays beyond the transfer window. Now, that is a bit worrying for me as someone who adores Bruno Fernandes, who thinks he is one of the best players in world football, in the top 5 best players in world football. That is incredibly worrying. Lachlan says, sorry Alex, I have to shoot off early. Great stream, by the way. Hope you keep enjoying your holiday. See you tomorrow. I'll see you tomorrow, my friend. I've absolutely loved doing this stream. And yes, I am on holiday. I really hope you haven't heard the seagulls that are currently literally right just above me. Really appreciate you coming on. But Bruno Fernandes, how are we feeling about him, everybody? A man who could potentially be leaving the club at the moment because we're just not keen on offering him a renewal. It's dependent on the fact that if he stays beyond the window, meaning that it's not a certainty. Guys, how do we feel? Are we happy that Bruno Fernandes could potentially be leaving? How much would it take for you to sell him? Do you think we should resign him? And how long do you think he has left at the top level? Let me know down below. Edalou says, I'm more interested in seeing who goes, then we'll see some new incorporations into the side. Yeah, I get that. I think we're very much in a sell to buy sort of scenario right now. Very much a sell to buy sort of scenario. Both I'm hearing rumours about Javi Simmons. I mean, speaking about Bruno Fernandes leaving, you don't get a better replacement than Javi Simmons personally. He'd be a wonderful pound for pound replacement. Saha says Fernandes needs to stay. I think Bruno Fernandes is a top 5 player in world football. When it comes to the very source of the tweet as well, Luckhurst, I mean, look. We all have our different opinions on Samuel Luckhurst. Some might love him, some might hate him, some will tolerate him. Some will just sort of find him funny, some will find him annoying. To me, with Luckhurst, I think he's spot on here. I think he's really quite good when it comes to contract negotiations. I think every once in a while he will bring up quite a sensationalized story that is probably based in truth, but it's not, wholly accurate. But when it comes to contract talks and things of this nature, Zirkzee is pretty spot on. So I'm going to be tenuously taking this not as gospel, but taking it as quite a bit of a truth. M says, I think Bruno has more years on his contract. We can't justify renewing a 30-year-old on big wages. We should cash out and let Amad Diallo play the number 10. How much would you sell Bruno Fernandes for, ZM? How much would you sell him for? To me, you're looking at £100 million for one of the best players in world football. But that's just me. And invest in our weak spots at ZM. Yeah, I get that. Amad can play 10 as well. Amad can happily play that 8-10, especially if you've got like a Rasmus Højlund, Joshua Zirkzee sort of front line. Yeah, absolutely he can. Absolutely. Any other opinions on the Bruno Fernandes situation, everybody? Any other opinions? And who would you bring in to replace him? Who would you bring in to replace him, chat? Let me know. Let me know. Alex, do you think Alan Varela would suit us? Chat, who is Alan Varela? I'm really sorry, I don't know. I'm really sorry. And invest in our weak spots as to me, when it comes to the weak spots of United, right now, if I were to pick decisions that probably the 3 positions that need strengthening the most, I would go with centre back. I'd go with our striker, and maybe I'm concerned to go with the number 6 or a left back, because I do think the left back situation isn't being spoken about enough and isn't being prioritised. Enough. No, I'd go with the number 6 role. I'll go that's sort of where I look at the weak spots. And guys, if you haven't liked the video already, we're so late on in the stream now. I really appreciate if you stuck around for the whole thing, or if you're just joining us, please leave a like on the video. We're 4 likes away from 50 likes. It would mean the world if you can help us reach that total today. I'd really appreciate it. ZM says £80 million. He's a proper player. I agree, mate. I agree. W says Bruno should sign a new long deal. I mean, we've spoken about before Bruno Fernandes and his ability to play for longer, and how he wishes when he's older to drop back into being more of a 6. I mean, imagine Pep Guardiola taking Bruno Fernandes, 33, 34, an experienced, trophy-winning captain of Manchester United, and using him as a 6. I'm sorry. That would be incredible. His legs have gone a little bit, but he's still got... No. That'd be ridiculous. We'll convert Anthony to a left-back, says please do not speak blasphemous thoughts on this channel. Please do not. That is a horrible, horrible thought, my friend. WY says we will end up signing a left-back just later on in the window. You're coming through with all sort of predictions today, aren't you, WY? I get it, though. I get it. I think, again, it's very much sale-dependent. And how much we invest in other positions. If we invest quite cheaply in the number 6, so you bring in a Fofana, a Kirk is a lot more likely. An 8 and Yuri is a lot more likely. So look, there's that to think about as well. Dan Case is left back and agrees that it's a weak spot. Yeah, I agree. I do agree with you, my friend. I do agree. To finish off the stream today, guys, let's have a little talk about who do you think we should be investing in. Who's your rogue shout to invest in for the end of the transfer window? Say it gets late on. Say we're missing out on a 6. So missing out on a centre back. We need a cheap option to fill in one of our zones. Who would you bring in? Who's your emergency signing? To me, it's striker. It's Alvaro Morata. To me, as even up front as a utility player, you bring in an Antoine Griezmann for £10 million on a 2-year deal. For a centre back, I think you'd bring in a Gleison Bremer. You bring in who do I bring as a centre back as an emergency? Oh, I'm not too sure. Saha says if Anthony played left back, he will surely leave us and all United fans will be happy. We're playing 4D chess here, everybody. Short-term sacrifices for long-term gain. Let's get Anthony out of the football club. Oh, I'm really sorry. The Anthony agenda is never going to stop, guys. I'm sorry. Terrorist movements, says LM. You're so right, my friend. You're so right. WY says we should sign someone at left back that is less known. I mean, we're looking at Kirkus for a reason, my friend. Looking at Kirkus for a reason. ZM says with the amount of players we have to sell, we can honestly cook this season and finish top 3 with a solid squad. Just have to sell and buy right over one window. We should be aiming for a minimum 75, 78 points next season, personally. 3rd year of a project, backed heavily by the board. Yeah, we're looking at we'll be looking at 75, 78 points personally. WS says nobody would want Anthony. Brazilian clubs might want him. Flamengo, oh god, my voice. Or Corinthians would be interesting. I mean, they're interested in Facundo Pellistri. So, WS says Kirkis isn't good and way too expensive. Did you watch the Hungary game, mate? Because if that's all you've watched of him, watch more. Trust me, they're playing today, aren't they? They've got Germany, haven't they? See how he does there. I promise you'll be surprised. Andy Williams says I'm not convinced by any of the players we're linked with. Well, I am. When it comes to Manchester United, we are building smartly. We are building a team which could potentially challenge, put a little title challenge on. We could be up there by December. I don't think we last, but I certainly think we could be up there. Looking at bringing Joshua Zirkzee and Jared Vanthwaite in very, very quickly. Looking at the midfield position, potentially bringing Javi Simmons instead of a Michael Elise, a very smart signing. Constantly looking across the board, trying to offload the players who don't want to be here, the Deadwood, the Mason Greenwoods of the world, the Jadon Sanchos of the world, the Casemiros of the world, a potential smart investment in Sofian Amrabat. That is what's going on at Manchester United at the moment. And if you've enjoyed all that, thank you for tuning into the MPB Morning Show. I'm here every day at 11 a.m. If you've enjoyed today's stream, please leave a like on the video and hit that subscribe button. I'll hope to see you all tomorrow. I'll see you then. Bye-bye.